Tempe here. Today is Friday, July 20th, 2012, and I'm coming to you from my co-teacher's office as usual. And today I wanted to talk to you about is this past weekend I did the Boreyeong Mud Festival. So I want to give y'all the scoop and the skinny on that. All right, stay tuned. Last week was the first week of the Boreyeong Mud Festival. And so what this is, it's in a small town called Boreyeong, and it's, I think it's like northeast of where I am in Daegu. And it's on the coast. And they're supposedly well known for the healing properties of the mud that's up there. So I booked to go with my girlfriends, with 3 of my girlfriends, to go via Nick's Tours. And so Nick's Tours is this guy named Nick, I guess, who basically just organizes stuff for people to do, particularly folks in Daegu. So we all paid for the bus ride up there and for a pension, which I'll tell y'all more about pensions. And I thought for tickets into the festival, but that was not included, it turns out. But anyway, so we all meet downtown in front of the Novotel at like 8:30 in the morning, and the buses pull out at 9. So we're on our little ride, and I make sure I go to the bathroom 2 or 3 times before because it's like a 3-hour ride, and I was just like, ugh, ain't nothing worse than being trapped in a vehicle and having to go to the bathroom, and you can't. As was attested to by these 2 South Africans who decided that it was a good idea to drink for the half hour to an hour that they stood outside waiting for the bus and during the trip. And not only did they just drink water, no, they were having like coffee, and I'm pretty sure that they were drinking alcohol before we got on the bus, like vodka or soju or something. And then they cracked open some beers and were drinking them on the bus. And of course, lo and behold, they have to go to the bathroom and make this big brouhaha about having to go to the bathroom. But we ended up stopping at rest stops and stuff, so that was cool. So the ride down there, I thought I was going to get to do some sleeping. Didn't happen. 1, because they were loud and obnoxious in the back. Yes. And 2, because I kind of just ended up chit-chatting with the folks behind us. There were some folks from New York. Yeah, there were some New York folks who were pretty cool who've only been here for 4 years. But it turns out like one of them lived in Japan for a while and taught at Nova, which I was like, ooh, you taught at Nova. If y'all don't know about Nova, look it up. It's a hot mess. I'm so happy I taught with Eon. Even though Eon had its own issues, it wasn't Nova, okay? But so that was pretty cool. And as we were riding on the bus, we all get to talking, and we're all Americans, and we're like, you know what? We have come to realize that perhaps it is people from other countries who are wilding out that people think are American and not Americans. Because most folks think that if you speak English and you're white, that you are an American, regardless if you have an accent or whatever, because half the time they can't even tell the difference. So, yeah, that was our theory. Like, why we get the bad rap? Because last time I checked, we're not the ones acting a fool everywhere here in Korea. Sometimes we are, but not all the time. I'm just going to say that. And so then we, after making a couple of pit stops, we then make it to the Mud Festival. And we're all really excited and happy, and we get there, and we know we're at the Mud Festival because, 1, there are foreigners galore. I mean, foreigners everywhere, and tons of buses, and people covered in mud, right? And then the bus stops. And so at this point, the South African girl has hopped off the bus when the bus slowed down because she had to find a bathroom, and I guess she went to go pee or whatever. And then the bus finally stops, and we all kind of get off. And then it turns out that we're not at the right place. So we all pile back onto the bus. And then the bus continues to drive for like 5 more minutes or something. And then the bus stops. But then we're afraid to get off the bus because we don't know. Is this really where we get off? I see other people from Daegu on other buses getting off and going across, but I'm like, no, that's not it. But it turned out to be it. So we make it there, and we get to our pension. Sorry about the camera issues. There we go. I don't want it to fall. So we get to our pension, and yeah, everything's cool. The lady's like, oh, we don't know where people go, so we kind of just had to take matters into our own hands and just say, hey, it's the 4 of us plus some other girl we don't know is standing here, so let's go. So we get there, and we unload our stuff, and the pension is basically like a studio apartment kind of thing. It really looks like it would be someone's apartment. It's just a wide open space. There's a small little kitchen area and a small little bathroom, and there are basically pallets for us to sleep on the floor and pillows. So we put down our stuff, we change into our swimsuits, and we decide to head on out and walk to the festival. And so, but we decided to take the beach route since we were right there at the beach. So we walk up to the beach, and the water is a little brisk but not too cold, much cleaner than Haeundae Beach. And some of us play, in the surf for a little while, and then we walk. And we keep walking. And we keep walking. And then finally we get to the Mud Festival. And the area of the festival is nothing like what I expected, because it's just like these little troughs, elevated troughs. But like little elevated troughs. They actually look like old school kind of water fountain type things, if you know what I'm talking about. Where they're round, if you guys ever had the ones where you had to step on the bottom for the water fountain or for the faucet to work. It's like one of those kind of things. And it's just filled with like mud. And you just scoop it out and just put it all over you. So, or on each other, as the case was. So, me and my friends, we cover ourselves, our arms and everything, and parts of our bathing suits in it. And at this point, I have a bandana on my head because I'm trying not to get the clay into the mud into my hair. But the mud's super thin, so I wasn't like, oh, okay, well, it's super thin, I can take the bandana off. But I don't put any in my face. And why don't I put any in my face? Because people's hands is all in there, drunk people. I don't know who these people are. I don't know how they've contaminated the mud. It's gross. And so my face does not have any mud. Like all my neck, my arms, everything else does. And of course, this guy sees me and I have no mud on my face, and he just ups and just rubs his hand on my face and was like, there you go. And I was like, of course someone was going to do it. Probably, of course a man was going to do it. They seemed to like touching my face. But anyway, so we're all covered up, and then next to those are basically inflatable jump houses. Yes, folks, the Boreyeong Mud Festival is a couple of troughs of mud and about maybe 10 to 12, maybe a dozen or so jump house activities, which you have to pay for, which we thought was included in ours but was not, and you have to pay for. And not only do you have to pay for them, you have to pay for them based on time. So if you're going from 9 a.m. to about 1 p.m., you get one wristband, and it's like 5,000 won. And then if you want to go from 2 p.m. to when it closes at 6 p.m., you have to get another wristband. So you need 2 wristbands in order to enjoy the festival for the entire day. When we get there, 1, they say they're sold out. So we were like, well, we can't do anything. And 2, we don't have any money. We didn't bring money. We didn't bring cell phone. We didn't even bring the hotel key. We left the key, the pension key, with the lady. So we're like, well, crap. We're kind of screwed. What should we do? So basically, we kind of just watch other people play in the jump houses. And the jump houses have things like there's a giant slide that you wait in line for, and you climb up the slide and slide down. There's a mud wrestling pit. What else is there? Oh, there's like a race, one of those inflatable race things where you race your opponent to get to the other end and then try to race back. And like a bungee cord race one where you pretty much have a bungee cord attached to you and you strap it around you and you try to run and grab the object at the end before your partner does. And and then there's a big trough where you can just like rinse off, splash water on each other. I don't know what they were doing. But needless to say, most of us did not do that because we didn't want to stand in line for hours on end for like 30 seconds. It was like going to an amusement park. Only thing you're covered in mud. And then there's another section too where you could go and get painted with different color mud, but you had to be clean, and we were definitely not clean at this point. So what we decided to do is go back to our hotel, our pension, and get money. So we go back and we get money. So we decide that we do need money. So we walk way back to our pension, and we get there, and the manager's not there. She is nowhere to be found. And for whatever reason, when I gave her the key, I was like, you know what, let me leave this window cracked open. So what do? We end up having a sort of kind of break in to our room because it's on the end. So we hoisted our friend up into the window, and then she opened the door, and then we got our money and stuff. And then as we were leaving, she comes back, and I go and I ask her for the key. And then she in turn is asking me in Korean, how did you get in if you don't have the key? And I was just like, I don't understand what you're saying. And she just kept saying it over and over again and slow and pointing to the lock. And I was just like, I have no idea what you're talking about. And I knew that's what she was saying. And so I told and Sarah, Oops, I said a name, but whatever. My friend, she speaks a little Korean, and she's Korean American, so everybody just automatically assumes she's fluent in Korean. And so I told her real fast, it's like, don't say anything, just act like you don't know what she's talking about. We're gonna get the key, and we're just gonna go. And that's what we did. We got the key from her, and we just headed out, and we stopped off at this guy who was selling kebabs, aka pitas, as we would call them. But I guess he's Turkish, so they call them kebabs. Who were selling those, and I bought some vegetable samosas. Now, the ladies had like really good kebabs, I guess, and my samosas were gross. And why were my samosas gross, you might ask? Because it was cold, and he didn't have no way to heat them up. And I'm like, really? How are you selling cold samosas? For real? For real? For real? I know I shouldn't be that upset because it was one of the few things that I could eat in the town because everything else was seafood. But at the same time, I was just like, come on, man. How you going to do people like that? But anyway, because I guess most people weren't eating it, so I guess he didn't care. Thank goodness I had packed food beforehand and had been eating some of my snacks and stuff. So we go back, and at this point, it's late in the day. It's like 4 o'clock. If we buy wristbands, we only have 2 hours to use them because it closes at 6. And we're going to spend that 2 hours in line. And I was just like, yeah, I'm not feeling that at all. So instead of buying wristbands, we're like, well, we'll just do it tomorrow. We still have all day Sunday. So instead we just walk around a little bit. We see friends. We take some pictures with some folks. We meet up with some other folks. More mud has come out, so we put more mud on us because we had rinsed some of it off. And then we decide, hey, let's go down to the beach. And so the beach party is rocking. There's music going. People are just going crazy. It's like a mosh pit and all this stuff. So we go down and we're having a good time. And then, wham! Water in my face. Which then in turn has the mud dripping down my face. Yes. So people are out there in this big mob of folks who are dancing like the club. They made the sand like a dance floor kind of thing. And there are people out there with water hoses who are randomly hosing people down. So I got mud all up in my eye. I can't see. I'm blind. I'm like, oh my goodness, there's like hundreds of people here. I'm about to lose my friend. Who knows what's about to happen to me? I'm having a panic attack. Not really. I'm just like, dang it. So my friend wipes the mud out of my eyes, and I go wash my hands in one of the hoses and just wash my face. And we danced for a little while, but then people were getting a little crazy, so we decided to go into the ocean. And this, people, was my favorite part. Now, my friend and I had waded in a little bit earlier, but this time we actually went out further. We went out farther into the ocean, and I just swam. I communed with Mother Ocean, and it was glorious. Oh, it was wonderful. The day was overcast, but it was warm enough, and people were just nice, and we were just having a good time, and yeah, it was good. The people watching was fantastic because there were foreigners from all over. You could definitely tell the military guys, from the teachers, from the students. There was like a large group of guys from like India and Pakistan, and we know because they talked to us. There was a large group of guys from Nigeria because they talked to us. Well, actually, they talked to us after I may or may not have peer pressured my friend into slapping one of them on the behind with her flip-flop. But he was nice about it. He didn't care. He was like, I like that. Okay, not like that. He said he likes the fact that we can laugh and joke like that and not get offended and upset by people just having fun, you know. He vented about Korea for a minute. And then we went on about our merry way. Yes, there was there was such a large variety of people just enjoying themselves, having fun. A lot of hot bodies, a lot of not so hot bodies, you know, mine included. But we were just enjoying ourselves, just being out in the water. Everybody got to be big kids again. And then so after that, we were quite tired, and we head on back to the pension. And this time the landlady is not there, and we all, you know, shower and change. Now on the way back, it becomes a mission to find my one friend something to wear, because it never occurred to her that we were going to have to, like, you know, change up to go out to the club or go eat or whatever. She was just like, I'm just here to play in the mud, you know, and in the water. So we ended up finding her a cute little dress thing that she changed into, and we go back to the pension, and everybody changes and gets ready to go out for dinner. And at this point, I'm exhausted because, one, I have eaten probably the least amount of everybody, and two, I swam in the ocean. Most people played. I was out there like swimming into the waves, swimming with the waves, treading water. I went out pretty far. I went out almost as far as you can go before the actual lifeguards and stuff tell you to go back, because they don't let people swim very far out into the ocean here. They have buoys and stuff, and it was like, if you're out this far, you got to hit back. So I swam out pretty far. and came back. And then the ladies decided they wanted to go search for something to eat. And I was like, I'm tired. I'm just gonna sit here and read my book. If you guys find something that's cracking, that's going on, that's awesome, let me know. And it also started raining, and I was just like, I'm done with the damp hair. I'm over it. So they go out. Then there's fireworks that night, which I kind of watched from the pension, and then they come back, sans food. Like, they didn't find anything to eat. It was coming down really hard outside. So they just came back and we chit chatted and eventually went to sleep. After we actually took the lives of several mosquitoes because they were going crazy. Thankfully, I didn't get bitten at all. Shea butter, I'm not playing, y'all. Y'all get you some good shea, unscented shea. Rub that all over your scalp, face, everything. No mosquito bites, none. I didn't have not one mosquito bite, despite there being a ton of them in the room. Yet all my friends got bitten, even though they put on bug repellent. So that was kind of sad. And then the next day, we were just really tired, and we just like, oh, we have to check out. My one friend decides to go back to the Mud Festival, and she ends up eventually getting covered from head to toe in mud. She puts on these goggles, and she's covered head to toe in mud when we finally find her after we check out of the pension. And at this point, and it is so stormy that you cannot go into the ocean. I was going to go for a morning swim. I'm happy I didn't because the waves were crashing into the shore. I guess there must have been a storm off of the coast and whatnot. So they had warnings and stuff up, and they were keeping people out of the ocean. But after that, we went and we had some food. My one friend left. She went back to Pohang a little bit earlier, and then the rest of us, we ended up going to a chicken place. I almost killed myself, almost died. It felt like I was going to die. Basically, it was just so muddy and so wet everywhere, and I had on my little flip-flops in my dress, and I stepped into like a puddle and slid. And never in my life have I been so happy to run into someone. And I mean, literally, I bailed right into this guy. And if he wasn't a bigger guy, we both would have tumbled over, and it would have been so bad. My skirt would have been messed up, and I was just like, oh my goodness. But it didn't happen. I felt kind of bad because I know I hit him pretty hard because my backpack was loaded down, and I had my Kindle in my hand. It was a mess. So klutzy temperance strikes again. And then after that, it was pretty much be upset because the chicken place opened and they don't have any food and stuff is sold out, and all they have is like 2 different types of chicken. They don't even have french fries. They don't have fries. They don't have a salad, nothing like that. And so thank goodness I still had some of my pumpkin that I had roasted left over. So I ate that and watched the ladies fill themselves up on chicken, wishing that they also had something else to go with it. But we got to watch K-pop videos. So I got to watch Super Junior's new video, Sexy, Free, and Single. I'm ready to bingo. Yes, y'all. I didn't make it up. Look it up. Super Junior, Sexy, Free, and Single. And they say, I'm ready to bingo. Not mingle. Bingo. I guess, bingo. Get some. Is what that was. And then so we get on the bus. And we load on up and we head on back. And thank goodness the South Africans are tired as everybody else. And it's fairly quiet. And we get into Daegu at around 7 o'clock. We were supposed to get here at 8, but we got here at 7, which was wonderful. And we all trudged our tie behinds home. Yes, we trudged our tie behinds home. But I have to say, I rate the actual Mud Festival itself as blah. It's not a lot to do. I thought we were going to be able to like play in the mud. No. I kind of wish we had gone with the Pohang group because they... and Adventure Korea, because they actually found an area on the beach where they get the mud, and they just had a blast. So if you do go to the Boreyeong Mud Festival, try to go with the group that is not going to the actual festival, or not only going to the actual festival, who's going to the beach and who's going to be going to the other areas where they have the mud. That's what you want to do. You want to get dirty, you want to play in the mud, you want to be a kid again. So I definitely suggest doing that. Yeah.